become the leaders of the world.
Yes, that's what I hope will happen to business, to the world, to get more female influence on what's happening. Right now, I'm going to invite some guests into here. Before that, I want to say the topic for this episode, self-determination, the pod series called Feminine Leadership Philosophy. So when I started this project, which was during the invasion on Ukraine, and since I'm very engaged into that subject regarding self-determination and anti-regime messaging, I saw this immediately as half Sami indigenous, how we still need to fight for sovereignty and values, where authorities try to indoctrinate us into their values, to which we, to this day, need to defend and fight in order to lift the autonomy of how we are to ourselves, may be the same as the fight to be ourselves in that sense. So we can say the same about any invasions today, but how about invasions on the feminine and our sovereignty as female equal power? And how is it not an invasion on the feminine that the dominant role, let's say in technological adaptations, to which we are set to be a part of, but how much do we have to say about that development really, and how we are to behave in the technological world, both as users and developers. And when feminine representation, as in this business and development of these technologies, are not telling truthfully our own stories, sovereign story, and what is the same sense of invasion on countries, not being able to self-determine what's the landscape going to be and how are we going to use it. Also for Earthian, let's say, development, and are we representing who we are with this already business as usual, or are we still today in 2024 an extra arm length of how they see us, or the global patriarchy that shapes the global economy to statistically proven degree, and in which way is it still visible that we haven't reached this equal power yet? And I'm going to ask very interesting persons, how much do they think that they are represented? Which areas in society or business, as well as state powers? What's your name and what are you doing?
My name is Iro Micheli. Iro is the Greek name. Originally, I'm an architect. So this is my studies, my main studies. I do a lot of stuff to survive. I have been a manager of, I started my career as a manager of our family company.
Right.
Construction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hard.
It's very male-dominated.
It is. This is what I was thinking before when you sent me the topic. I was the female manager, so my father was the owner. Our co-workers were females, most of them, actually.
Oh, that's cool.
But they were mostly in administrative parts of the job, you know.
Yeah.
The males were out in the streets.
All right.
And the women were doing the dirty job, you know.
We still have that, right? The division there. But that's like very traditional.
I have a lot of friends, they own small businesses, small tourist businesses. And to tell you the truth, it is female run there. So a lot of my female friends, they own and they manage their own companies, and they're doing really well there. Men are, they work in the sea. They are captains, you know, they work with ships and so. So they bring the money and the women stay behind. So it's a really matriarchic culture as well there. But
but that's interesting. very interesting because, I'm from Norway, just by the way. And
Okay.
that country, we have a lot of coastline as well. And from
Yeah, I know.
from the Viking Age, it was the same thing. The women took care of the homes when the men were on the sea and making all the trade, and they came back with the money. And then the women had all the domination of the households, but also the more commercial buildings, like say,
Yeah.
hospitality as well, right?
Yeah.
In that sense, in that time, and it's like the same that is in the modern time.
This has stayed like
Yeah.
it is. We say a Greek word "ethimo," like culture. And most of the islands of the Greece, it's matriarchal culture there.
Greece might be special with that because you have the mythology, right? Where I've read a lot about the female goddesses of Greece, that took care of the islands for invaders kept coming, and they were protecting, and they were having a lot of more responsibility against warfare. Yeah,
they had to take care of the land as well, and the production of the goodies there, because they didn't have supermarkets, so they had to take care of their own food.
Right, but that's also a part of power, self-sustainability, how to learn how to preserve land, and gives you power.
My father retired, and his company has closed within the crisis in 2012, where things were really bad for Greece. So the company has closed, and I carried with my own way.
Yeah.
Architecture, design, construction, and real estate.
That's nice. So you develop this further, I can hear. So you feel now that you have your integrity and you did what you wanted with this, right?
Completely, yeah.
It's an inspiration, because I don't think it's like, do you think that's common, or do you think that's really what's happening around? Or
no.
No.
So it is my hidden pain in Greece. Because my female friends and women I know, they tend to choose safety than autonomy and be independent in any parts of their lives. So they choose even the marriage to be a little bit, not a little bit, actually completely dependent. Yeah, exactly. They choose dependent relationships, even not only in the workplace, which I understand, but even in their marriage. They choose to be a mom, and the man will do the other things.
Oh,
and makes me sad.
It was sad to hear, because I thought, when I look at Greek women, I see a lot of independence, like you, for instance, doing your own business. When I look at hotel managers, a lot of them are women I've seen around. But when you talk about it like this, that's also a story I think is not so visible. Like, it's not something that we notice at first when we come to Greece, but when you say it, this is very cultural, right? So is this something for generations that never has changed? Like something that,
Definitely, Greek culture is conservative, even if we want to show that it's not. But it's in the blood of the families. Like, the parents keep asking you up to when you're 30 or even 25. Okay, when are you going to be married? And when are you going to have children? So it's always,
So the traditional values are still very strong. And what I can hear is that the biggest ideal might be for a female to have a family, a good husband, and children to, like, maybe satisfy parents.
Exactly.
And then,
it has a little bit shifted from the past, let's say from my mom's generation, where more women were housewives. I can see it happening now as well with some of my friends, and it makes me really sad. So they were walking up to when they get married, and then suddenly they become a happy housewife with the children in the house. I don't have time to work. I don't want to judge, but I think it's not good for our personal development and our psychology.
I think, if this is something that happens because you compare to others, you want to satisfy somebody, I agree, because that means that it doesn't come from you. It's like something expected. Like, for instance, from a parent, father or mother might be disappointed if you don't fulfill their goals, stuff like that. And that's come again from the old patriarchy that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's like, given that women has some future that is already set up, it's already written that she has to do this and this and that to have a fulfilled
and
life.
There are always the deadlines, the biological deadlines, like, okay, over 40, your eggs are finishing. So
let's say another female, what if she doesn't get pregnant, or what if she chooses another path? Then what happens? Is that accepted?
It happens as well. So I see it more and more right now with my younger friends, let's say the millennial, not the millennial, the Gen Z guys.
Right. And they are more fluid.
They are shifting more to independence. Most of them, they tend to dependent working environments than to choose their own paths. Okay, we can't ignore the crisis and the money situation in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
The space to not to judge the women in this age, because it's really hard to make your own stuff here.
Cooperation with someone, like you are in architecture, you also cooperate with construction, and you feel that safety is something that, what I have from experience, is something you also can create, and it's something you can get inspired by others who are already there.
We need a good prototypes, but there is always the internet. You can look for examples.
A little bit with Greece is also that when you have an economic crisis, because we didn't go through all those things you did, then of course it has an impact for all the social life, because it makes you, you are
more afraid, actually.
Yeah,
you've been into this experience of not knowing what tomorrow will bring.
When you started with your own business, did you feel a relief or freedom to be who you are and do what you wanted to do?
Definitely. Definitely.
Was that something that you felt you needed permission to do? Or was that something from yourself? Now I'm ready?
I needed a little bit of capital, to tell you the truth, because I know in my work things are really up and down. So it's not every month a good month. And jump through the fence. And thank for my parents, I have a house. I own a house, so I don't have to pay rent. So this was my starting point. And since I was a kid, my father was the prototype for me, for my job,
It's very much about that we try to see the feminine and the masculine in every person, every human being, and doesn't have to be so binary. That when a man, for instance, has the quality of being tough and progressive and initiate, and the woman is more like the one that needs confirmations before she dares anything, or it's like when you have a male role model, let's say you had your father, some people don't, but they can still have it in themselves, but how to find that without the father, right? And then it's how much we still are from family as a core, and how we then bloom and kind of free yourself from this.
It's definitely dependent on the family roles we get as children, I think. Because I was the powerful kid. When you compare me with my brother, I was always the strong, the tough guy. So maybe this works this way.
It helps to have brothers as well. I have brothers. I just got a sister, but I always had brothers. It makes me also one of them, like you, right?
Yeah.
And I think that, we picture ourselves with more than what we think. We picture ourselves with society the whole time. So this is also part of philosophy, that society has this and this image of the woman, and we're not aware how much we perceive of these signals all the time in commercials, TV.
It's really true what you're saying, and it needs to be to have built your own personality so tough that you are not so much doesn't get into you. You know, like you have a wall. It's like every day you get bombarded with this Barbie symbol.
Right. And like in Greece especially, because we are from different cultures, that's very interesting too. There are so many beauty shops in Greece. It must be the most in the world.
It's all about nails and hair. That's true.
Every corner has one.
That's true. That's true.
And
it's sad in a way because, it's good to take care of yourself. But there are other
isn't about that, because when I see all these beauty shops, and I cannot imagine that they actually can survive when there's so much competition, because there's so many.
Therefore, I can tell you, it's crazy. It's the best business in Greece. If you open a nail shop, I mean, you will get rich.
Oh my gosh! But how is this obsession with beauty in Greece?
It's a big issue. I mean, I've thought of it several times since I was younger.
Yeah.
The one part is, patriarchal. Like, the woman should be beautiful, and that's all.
Attractive.
You know, attractive. So she can get the man. It's so simple as that. Like, a lot of Greek girls, they are nourished in a way, they're raised in a way with the prototype of get the good man, get the money, be the gold digger.
Right. So
it's hard to say, but I can say it.
You are honest. You just say what you got.
I'm blunt. But I don't know if you got it in the post-production.
You can choose what you want to have in there, but I'm just saying that we have to be transparent about these issues to understand them. Because if we don't talk about it, society will always stay very superficial. We will always just buy what we're getting, what people are telling you, without thinking ourselves. And when I saw that, because I just thought Greek women, they just love to dress up, these nail shops, for instance, I just love that women are running them because they are the managers, It's just that how can they afford, and also how can they just be obsessed with that? First of all, it's not cheap because it costs a lot. And then it's like, you always change how you look. Like if I just need a haircut for 1 month, I might keep that haircut for half a year because I'm just so happy because I just got a new haircut. But this is like every week, or I don't know how often.
Every week, 2 weeks or so.
Is it that women you feel in Greece, or they want to be younger? Is that the thing? Because or is it that they're not satisfied with themselves?
I think they are not satisfied with themselves. I think they are not getting enough validation from their work. And their hobbies. And it's underdeveloped. Like, if you ask, say, a Greek woman, or even in my mom's generation, they don't have hobbies. They don't play music, they don't paint, they don't it's only for the older women, it's only to nourish their kids, and since they do that, life is over.
Since
the kids are old enough.
Yeah, because I think about when you are having so much passion in your work, it has to come from you, because then it's like, if you don't find your own passion, how can you bring it to the workplace? It's like when I started music, because I do sound design, it's like if I just stopped doing that, I would never make a business, because that's not who I am. So if I'm going to make a business, I will have to bring my passion first, and then I can do the business with that.
Definitely.
And that might be the male brain, but that's the why I'm talking about what you were saying about yourself, that you feel that you've always been the male kid in the family. I think it's very feminine. It's just that we haven't found that females can be passionate, because we've been told that females are not passionate. They are, like you said, attractive, and they're supposed to be looked at instead of looking, instead of being the active participant and, being the one that constructs things, the one that designs, architecture.
Organize your dreams, organize your life. Like, what do you want from this life? I mean, you lose a big part of life, I think. As we speak, it comes to me the answer, like, there's no fulfillment. There is a little bit of depression there.
That's interesting, because ever since I came here, I see like a lot of dissatisfaction, depending, not genderized, but when you say it, women has a lot to say there, because it's like wherever I come, where women are powerful, changes happen in society. It's also in communities. If women start something. Like in Oslo, where I was living once, there were some gardening women. They were starting communities together in city gardening, Suddenly, a lot of people came, and it just bloomed into a business. And that's like, I think that we are underestimating female passion,
That's true.
Yeah. Because it's
or girls don't find a way to express it, or even when they express it, they get a lot of punishment for that. Since they were kids, like you can't be loud, or you can't be angry, or you can't climb on mountains, let's say, for instance. It's a boy thing,
It's so disappointing to hear, actually, because when I read about the Greek goddesses, Artemis, for instance, Athena, it's always those who are, they are emotional, they're expressive. Do you not have any of those ideals anymore? Or are they just vanishing? Or it's like just for tourism?
I can yeah, possibly. I can sense a flatness going on. Okay, in my generation, the things, I think they were a little bit better at this point, like when we were kids. It wasn't such a big thing, how you look and your icon. It wasn't such a big thing. I think now with the flourishing of Instagram and TikTok and so, the prototypes have changed badly. Like, it's too superficial. I can see young girls.
As you had your father and you got there, but now that you are freeing yourself, you have that same position that he had, and you feel that women can do this. This is not something we have to limit ourselves.
That's true.